That was Prime Minister speaking at the SCO Summit, sending out a clear message on terrorism that double standards will not be tolerated when it comes to this issue. In fact, I'm being joined by Ambassador Anil Trigunayat on this, former Deputy Chief of Mission in the rank of Ambassador in the Embassy of India, Moscow. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on News9. You just heard the Prime Minister sending out a very clear message that when it comes to terrorism, double standards will not be tolerated. I want to ask you, A, is this a message also for China and the US? And secondly, do you think this will also be a part of joint declaration then?
Well, I hope this is a part of the joint declaration. Prime Minister Modi very clearly mentioned about that Pahalgam was not a terror attack only against India, but was a terror attack against the humanity. Now, that is something he's taking a global message in that regard. India has always had this position that there should be no double standards. There should be no my terrorist versus your terrorist kind of an approach. There's no good terrorist or bad terrorist approach. We have been taking it up at the United Nations with individual countries. And what we see in reality is that at the end of the day, each country, especially these you mentioned about China, Pakistan, or USA, they have displayed double standards. And that's precisely what India has been uh, calling it out. And as you know, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's one of the major objectives is to fight against terror, extremism, and radicalism, which they call as three evils. But unfortunately, they have a country as a member which joined with India in 2017, which has continued to use terrorism as an instrument of its foreign policy and against India. And that's why Prime Minister said that is for 4 decades we have been suffering from it. Of course, India has now changed its policy, that the Operation Sindoor continues. But at the same time, I think that the world has to rise because this is a global threat and it cannot be fought or contained until and unless there is a global solidarity. So that was extremely clear messaging by a prime minister. And of course, Pakistani leader is there, and China has been complicit in the past, and hopefully will try to be a little more circumspect in future.
Right, Ambassador, that's exactly a very clear message being sent out by New Delhi. Now, I also have Dr. Manjri Singh joining me here, founding member, Greater West Asia Forum. In fact, Dr. Singh, I want to understand, how do you look at this statement coming in? It's clearly a very strong anti-terror messaging from New Delhi.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at it, it's a show of a very smart statesmanship and leadership. I would say that at a forum like this, wherein Pakistan is also present in front of everybody, the Prime Minister is not just calling out the terrorism that India faces for 4 decades, but he's also calling out people or the states who have not been cooperating on this global war of terrorism, whether it is China, whether it is US, how they have been mum on the issue of terrorism that India faced recently in Pahalgam. So, of course, it is a very strong statement made by the Prime Minister, and I hope that the countries will get the messaging from this particular statement that India is not going to, just because it is present in the SCO summit, it will just sign any declaration without even putting its thoughts across. So I think it's a very apt and a very strong statement in that sense.